The second voyage of Amerigo Vespucci. As regards the second voyage, what I saw in it most worthy of mention is as follows. We left the port of Cadiz with 3 ships on the 16th of May, 1499, and shaped our course direct for the Cape Verde Islands, passing the site of the Canary Islands. And we navigated until we reached an island which is called the island of Fuco. Here we got our supplies of wood and water, and then shaped our course for the southwest. In 44 days we came in sight of a new land, and we judged it to be the mainland, continuous with that of which mention has already been made. The land is within the torrid zone, and beyond the equinoctial line of the south, over which the South Pole rises from the meridian 5 degrees, beyond every climate. It is distant from the said islands by the southwest wind 500 leagues. We found the day and night to be equal, because we arrived on the 27th of June when the sun is near the Tropic of Cancer. We found this land to be all drowned and full of very great rivers. At first we did not see any people. We anchored our ships and got our boats out, going with them to land, which, as I have said, we found to be very full of large rivers, and drowned by these great rivers. There we tried in many directions to see if we could enter, and owing the great waters and rivers, in spite of so much labor, we could not find a place that was not inundated. We saw along the rivers many signs of the country being inhabited, but having ascertained that we could not enter from this part, we determined to return to the ships and to try another part. We weighed our anchors and navigated between the east-southeast, coasting along the land, which trended southwards, and many times we made 40 leagues, but all time was lost. We found on this coast that the current of the sea had much force that had prevented us from navigating, for it ran from south to north. The inconvenience was so great for that our navigation that, after a consultation, we decided upon altering the course to north, and we made good such a distance along the land that we reached a most excellent port, formed by a large island, which was the entrance. Within a very large haven was formed. In sailing along the island, to enter it we saw many people, and we steered our ships so as to bring them up where the people had been seen, which was nearly 40 leagues more towards the sea. Sailing in this way, we had seen a canoe, which was coming from seaward, with many people on board. We determined to overhaul her, and we went round with our ships in her direction, so that we might not lose her. Sailing towards the canoe with a fresh breeze, we saw that they had stopped with their oars tossed, I believe, with a wonder at the sight of our ships. But when they saw that we were gaining upon them, they put down their oars and began to row towards land. As our company came in a fast caravel of 45 tons, we got to windward of the canoe, and when it seemed time to bear down upon her, the sheets were eased off so as to come near to her, and as the caravels seemed to be coming down upon her, and those on board did not wish to be caught, they pulled away to leeward, and seeing their advantage, they gave way with their oars to escape, as we had our boats at the stern well manned, and we thought we should catch the canoe. The boats chased for more than 2 hours, and the last caravel made another attack, but could not fetch the canoe. As the people in the canoe saw that they were closely pressed by the caravel and the boats, they all jumped into the sea, their number being about 70 men, the distance from shore being nearly 2 leagues. Following them in the boats during the whole day, we were unable to capture more than 2. All the rest escaping on shore. Only 4 boys remained in the canoe, who were not of their tribe, but prisoners from some other land. They had been castrated and were without the viral member, and with the scars fresh, at which we wondered much. Having taken them aboard, they told us by signs that they had been castrated to be eaten. We then knew that the people in the canoe belonged to a tribe called Kambali, fierce men who ate human flesh. We came with the ship, towing the canoe astern, approaching the land, and anchored at a distance of a half a league. We saw a great number of people on the beach, so we went on shore with the boats, taking with us the 2 men we had captured. When we came near all the people, they fled into the wood. So we reasoned with one of our prisoners, giving him many signs that we wanted to be their friends. He did what we wanted very well, and brought back all the people with him, numbering about 400 men and women, and they came unarmed to the boats. A good understanding was established with them. We released the other prisoner, sent to the ships for their canoe, and restored it to them. This canoe was 26 paces long and 2 brachia wide, all dug out of a single tree, and very well worked. When they had hauled it up and put it in a secure place, they all fled, and would not have anything more to do with us, which seemed a barbarous act, and we judged them to be faithless and ill-conditioned people. We saw a little gold, which they wore in their ears. We departed and entered the bay, where we found so many people that it was wonderful. We made friends with them, and many of us went with them to their villages in great security. In this place we collected 150 pearls, which they gave us for a small bell, and a little gold was given to us for nothing. In this land we found that they drank wine made from their fruits and seeds, like beer, both red and white. The best was made from plums, and it was good. We ate a great many of them, as they were in season. It is a very good fruit, pleasant to the taste, and wholesome for the body. The land abounds in their articles of food, and the people are of good manners, and the most peaceful we have met yet. We were 17 days in this port, enjoying it very much, and every day new people came from the interior to see us, wondering at our faces and the whiteness of our skins, at our clothes and our arms, and at the shape and size of our ships. From these people we had tidings that there was another tribe of the westward who were their enemies, who had an immense quantity of pearls. Those which they possessed had been taken in their wars. They told us how they were fished, and in what manner the pearls were born, and we found their information to be correct, as your magnificence will hear. We left this port and sailed along the coast, always seeing people on the beach. And at the end of many days we came into a port, by reason of the necessity for repairing one of our ships, which made much water. Here we found many people, but were unable, either by force or persuasion, to establish any intercourse with them. When we went on shore, they opposed the landing fiercely, and when they could do no more, they fled into the woods and did not wait for us. Seeing that they were such barbarians, we departed thence, and, sailing onwards, we came in sight of an island which was 15 leagues from land. We decided upon going to see whether it was inhabited. We found on it the most bestial and most brutal race that has ever been seen. And they were of this kind. They were very brutish in appearance and gesture, and they had their mouths full of leaves of a green herb, which they continually chewed like beasts, so that they could hardly speak. And each had round his neck 2 dry gourds, one full of that herb, which they all had already in their mouths, and the other of white flour that appeared to be powdered lime. From time to time they put the powder with the spindle, which they kept wet in the mouth. Then they put stuff in their mouths from both, powdering the herb already in use. They did this with much elaboration, and the thing seemed wonderful, for we could not understand the secret. Did it. For these people, when they saw us, came to us with much familiarity, as if we had formed friendship with them, walking with them on the beach and talking. Being desirous of drinking fresh water, they made signs that they had none, and offered their herb powder, from which they concluded that the island was ill provided with water, and that they kept this fresh herb in their mouths to keep off thirst. We walked over the island for a day and a half without finding a spring of water, and we saw that the water they drank was what had fallen during the night on certain leaves which looked like asses' ears, and they held water, and of this they drank. It was excellent water, and these leaves are not found in many places. They had no kind of meat nor roots, as on the mainland does. They were sustained by fish caught in the sea, of which they had great abundance, and they were very good fishermen. They gave us many turtles and many large and excellent fish. Their women did not have the herb in their mouths like the men, but they all carried a gourd with water, from which they drank. They have no villages nor houses, but merely live under bowers of leaves, which shade them from the sun, though not from the rain. But I believe that it seldom rains out on that island. When they are fishing out at sea, all they have a very large leaf, and of such width that it forms a shade. As the sun rises, so they raise the leaf, and thus protect themselves from the sun. The island contains many animals of various sorts, and much water in swamps, and seeing that it offered no profit whatever, we departed and went to another island. We found that this other island was inhabited by very tall people. We landed to see whether there was any fresh water, and not thinking it was inhabited, as we had not seen anyone, we came upon very large footprints in the sand, as we were walking along the beach. We judged it, and if that by other means of measurements were in proportion to those of their feet, they must be very tall. Going in search, we came into a road which led inland. There were 9 of us. Judging that there could not be many inhabitants, as the island was small, we walked over to see what sort of people they were. When we had gone about a league, we saw 5 huts, which appeared to be uninhabited, in a valley, and we went into them. But we only found 5 women, 2 old, and 3 children, of such a lofty stature that, for the wonder of the thing, we wanted to keep them. When they saw us, they were so frightened that they had not the power to run away. The 2 old women began to invite us with words, and to set before us many things, and took us into a hut. They were taller than a large man, who well may be as tall as Francesco Albizzi, but better proportioned. Our intention was to take the young girls by force and bring them to Castile as a wonderful thing. While we were forming this design, there entered the door of the hut as many as 36 men, much bigger than the women, and so well made that it was a rare thing to behold them. They, in like manner, put us in such a state of being perturbed that we rather wished we were on board than having dealings with such people. They carried very large bows and arrows, and great clubs with knobs. They talked amongst themselves in a tone as if they wished to destroy us. Seeing ourselves in such danger, we made various suggestions to one another. Some proposed that we should attack them in the hut. Others said that it would be better to do it outside, while others advised that we should not take any action, until we saw what the natives were going to do. We at last agreed to go out of the hut and walk away in the direction of the ships as if nothing had happened, and this we did. Having taken our route to return to the ships, they also came along behind us at a distance of about a stone's throw, talking amongst themselves. I believe that they had not less fear of us than we of them, for sometimes we'd stop to rest, and they did so along without coming nearer. At last we came to the beach, where the boats were waiting for us. We got in, and when we were some way from shore, the natives rushed down and shot many arrows. But we had a little fear of them. We replied with 2 bombard shots, more to frighten them to do them harm. They all fled into the woods, and so we took leave of them, thankful to escape after a dangerous adventure. They all went naked like the others. We called this island the Island of the Giants, by reason of their stature. We proceeded onwards along the coast, and there happened to be combats with the natives many times, because they did not wish us to take anything from the land. At length we became desirous of returning to Castile, having been on the sea for nearly a year, and the provisions being nearly exhausted, the little that remained being damaged by the heat. For from the time that we left the Cape Verde Islands until now, we had been continually navigating within the torrid zone, and twice we had crossed between the equinoctial line, for, as I before said, we went 5 degrees beyond it to the south, and now we were 15 degrees of it to the north. Being in this state of mind, it pleased the Holy Spirit to give us some rest from our great hardships, for as we were searching for a point in which to repair our ships, we came upon a people who received us with much friendship. We found that they had a very great quantity of oriental pearls, and exceedingly good ones. We stayed with them 47 days and obtained from them 119 marks of pearls for very little merchandise in exchange. I believe the pearls did not cost us the value of 40 ducats. What we gave them was nothing but bells, and looking glasses, and beads, and 10 bells, and tin foil. For 1 bell, a native gave all the pearls he had. Here we learned how they fished for them, and where, and they gave us many shells in which they are born. We bartered for a shell in which bore 130 pearls, and in others less. This one of the 130 the queen took, and others I put aside that they may not be seen. Your magnificence must know that if the pearls are not mature, and are not detached, they soon perish. And of this I have had experience. When they are mature, they are detached in the shell, and are placed among the flesh. These are good. When they are bad, the greater part were cracked and badly bored. Nevertheless, they are worth a good deal of money when sold in the market. At the end of 47 days, we took leave of these things from the very friendly people. We departed, and, for the sake of obtaining many things of which we were in need, we shaped a course for the island of Antigua, being that which Christopher Columbus discovered a few years ago. Here we took many supplies on board, and remained 2 months and 17 days. Here we endured many dangers and troubles from the same Christians who were in this island with Columbus. I believe this was caused by envy, but to avoid prolixity, I will refrain from recounting what happened. We departed from the said land on the 22nd of July, and after a voyage of a month and a half, we entered the port of Cadiz on the 8th of September, being my 2nd voyage. God be praised. End of 2nd voyage. Amerigo Vespucci.